I'm Pastor Henry F. Curtis IV. I'm an ordained itinerant elder of the African Methodist Episcopal Church. I'm a native of Cleveland, Ohio, and I migrated to the AME Church from the United Methodist Church, where I was raised and baptized here in Cleveland, Ohio at the Mount Pleasant United Methodist Church. Here at St. John, this building is built in what would be called the Akron Plan building, where you had a dedicated church school area, kind of a rounded sanctuary with a central pulpit. This is a beautiful building, much different than the A-frame building that I grew up in. But this building speaks to the glory and the grandeur of God and the faith of the people who thought it not robbery to make this type of investment. It's important to understand at St. John that the building that we're in was built in 1908. It was built by African Americans. And here in the city of Cleveland in 1908, when this building was built, this was the largest building project that African Americans had accomplished in Cleveland's history. And for all of its grandeur, this building was built back then for $55,000. But it's an architectural marvel. It served many generations. It's very well constructed. But buildings of this type are rare, especially in today's modern church, where a lot of buildings now are being built as essentially sound stages and studios to accommodate the emerging and changing technologies that congregations rely upon today in order to produce their worship services. The AME Church was formed officially in 1816, but its roots really go back to 1787. At St. George's Methodist Episcopal Church in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the African American parishioners were denied the opportunity to pray at the altar, and they were asked by the stewards to get up from their knees and to not pray in that space. Richard Allen, Absalom Jones walked out of St. George's Methodist Episcopal Church in protest to the racist treatment they received, and they formed the Free African Society, which ultimately became the African Methodist Episcopal Church. Richard Allen and the early African Methodists had zero theological differences with Wesleyan theology or Methodist polity. And so the African Methodist Episcopal Church is the first denomination here in the Western Hemisphere that was formed by African Americans, and it was formed primarily for sociological reasons rather than theological differences, simply because black people were not welcome. And Mother Bethel AME Church in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, not very far from Independence Hall, is the mother church of African Methodism and the burial place of Richard Allen, our first bishop.
My name is Jeffrey Metcalf, and I'm a trustee at St. John AME Church in Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah, when I was growing up, St. John AME, a typical Sunday at church was my father would get us up early because he was in the choir, and we would have to go to Sunday school and sit with Miss Fanny Foster. During other times, as I got older, when I was still young, but we also had to do ushering and be a part of the young people's department. And the young people's department back in the 70s was probably about 75 to 100 people, young people at the church. Some of the most memorable times that I had was we traveled to Philadelphia and went to Mother Bethel. So that was a real big thing. We had a Friday night and Saturday there because we had to come back to go to church on Sunday. We had a lot of weekend camping trip revivals that we did. We did a lot of cookouts because there was so many young people. So it was always a big turnout. And, being baptized I was baptized very young. So St. John was everything as a young kid. The physical structures of St. John AME are still there. The church itself is still what was there when I first attended the church. It's just much older now, as you know, because we're trying to renovate the church back to its original status. my most memorable thing was seeing my son grow up and actually be in the pulpit probably 10, 20 times more than I did in my whole entire life there at the church. So to see him there in the pulpit, being a church leader for a service, a Sunday service, was everything as an adult, to know that what my parents taught me, I actually transferred and taught to my children. And most of the people that are there now, their parents were there and their parents' parents were there. So, we feel like now we're those older people in the church that everybody's looking to make sure that this church survives and to go on. And yeah, it was passed from generation to generation. And I'm glad I had a chance to actually do it. To get my children, just if you had a chance to see it, first see it from the outside, then see it from the inside, and know the history that a church of that magnitude was done by African Americans and built for $55,000, which would probably take $55 million to do right now. If you got to look at the inside and see the work and see that you could restore this back to what it was, I think Adona would be what I would hope and pray that they would be willing to jump on the team and help provide funding to help bring that church back to its original stature. It's one of the oldest black churches in Cleveland.